Hello, welcome. Welcome to the Rose Reviews, episode 5. Today, sorry, I have a spinny chair now where I sit, and it's just really fun to twist and turn. But today we're going to be discussing Tayshia Adams episode 7, I think. It's week 7 that we just watched last Tuesday. And I heard from Bachelor Fan Take that we are actually going to be watching The Bachelorette. The last episode, I think it's the After the Final Rose and the Men Tell All. That is going to be December 21st, if I'm correct. So I thought that the most recent episode of The Bachelorette was the absolute best so far. Honestly, other than the fence jump, even though Colton's a little bit not exactly who we thought he was, we'll say. I would say other than the fence jump episode of Colton's season, this is by far the best episode of the Bachelor franchise I've watched. So, I think Tayshia's doing a remarkable job as the Bachelorette. I think she is classy, she's funny, she's beautiful. She's a woman of color, of course. I didn't know that I think her mom's Hispanic or Latina, and her dad is black, but I don't think I knew that she was like half Latina or Hispanic. I think that's pretty cool. I think that there has been like a lot of romance, but just enough drama to keep us like watching and like wanting to stay tuned for the next week. So that's really cool. I don't think I've ever seen a season where, well, Becca Kufrin's season, she had a lot of romance, I feel like. But I wish that the Bachelor stars would stay together longer. I was kind of sad when oh my God, what is her? I just said it. Becca and her boyfriend Garrett broke up. Now they're both dating. Well, he's dating someone new. I don't know if she is, but anyway. Okay, so now that we have gotten a couple minutes into it, I don't think I'm going to have much people today, so hopefully people will watch it later. But, so it starts off with the guys going on a sort of group date, and they pick one winner from the group date to go on a one-on-one with Tayshia, and what they have to do is write and sing a song, and then like Chris comes onto the scene and he's like, we have instruments for you guys to choose from, and so we want you to write a song and for Tayshia, and whoever writes the most heartfelt song, she gets to pick who the winner is, and then that individual gets to go on a one-on-one with her, and it's going to be a very romantic, intimate date. So, I'm looking at this article right now from The Refinery, and it says, even though I like Tayshia, I wasn't finding this season to be all that exciting following Claire's exit. That is like the most disagreeable statement that I have heard about this season so far, honestly. But I do think that there is a lot less drama. So like if you're tuning into this season simply for the drama, there's really not a whole lot of that, which I am actually happy about. So they write the songs and it's horrendous. I don't know whose was the worst. I mean, they were choosing the best. I mean, Ivan's was easily the best. It was the most genuine. I thought Riley's was kind of bad because it was just like, I don't know. I feel like it was good, but for the type of date that it was, because he did like a poem basically. And I just feel like Riley is the type of guy who would go to open mic night and just like read all of these amazing poems off. But for this specific date, I thought it was wildly, I don't want to say inappropriate, but it was like not the vibe. So that was kind of weird to me. But okay, so first speaking, let's talk about Riley for a minute. So I did not really like Riley at first. I thought he was like rather annoying and just kind of cynical, and I just wasn't about it. But then as the episode from Tuesday went on, I don't know, something changed where I started to kind of be like, okay, I kind of like Riley. He's funny. He made me laugh a few times, and if you can make me laugh, then you are obviously going to be 10 steps higher than anyone else in my book, honestly. So I ended up not minding him by the end of the episode. I wouldn't say I fully disliked him. He just wasn't like my favorite, you know? So then Ivan wins the one-on-one, and he gets to go to Tayshia's house, and they do like fun and games and just like hang out and be, you know, romantic with one another. And they had a conversation about police brutality and Black Lives Matter and like the George Floyd situation and everything, and they talked about how racism affected both of them so deeply, like especially for Tayshia didn't really go into a whole lot of detail about her her experience with racism, but I think she, what was I gonna say? I just forgot. I hate when I do that. I think she's probably, I'm sure that she has experienced it a lot. She didn't like fully say, so I don't want to like make up her story, but she definitely has experienced something because she was very emotionally moved by this conversation with Ivan. And Ivan talked about how his brother had gone to prison, and when he would go visit his brother would talk about all the terrible things that went on in prison, and one of the things was like him getting like beat up by the prison guards, which gosh, that would just like, that just like broke my heart. That story was so sad. And I'm not really an emotional person, but it did really tug on my heartstrings. It really did. And then Tayshia got so emotional, and they were talking about like the protests with Black Lives Matter and stuff. And I don't know, it was just, it was a little bit, it was inspiring. It was definitely a very emotional, it was kind of heavy. I mean, but in a good way. Like, I feel like it opened up, hopefully it opened up people's eyes to like, these things do go on, and like that was like a very real example of racism that they were discussing, and it kind of like puts it into perspective if you've never really experienced racism or seen it firsthand. I think that that was like really honest and open and vulnerable on both of their parts to really share that, because that has got to be so difficult to talk about. Like, I cannot imagine talking about somebody being racist towards me. Like, I just can't. Like, it just makes me sick to even think about. So the fact that they were able to like discuss it on national television was really, really inspiring, and opened my eyes, honestly, a lot more than, even more than they already have been, I should say. I mean, to just hear something so raw and like violent, it was just, I hated it. It made me so sad for his brother and for Ivan and Tayshia to like experience racism. So anyway, on to, so then she gave him a rose, obviously, and I love Ivan. He really just like skyrocketed up my list of favorite guys, and he's so cute. His smile, I bet he has an ornery side. I don't know if anyone else like catches his like ornery eye, you know, like that kind of like, he was like very mischievous. Like, I feel like he would be like, I don't think he would carry out a prank, but I think he'd be the mastermind behind the prank if he were going to do that. And like, I think he'd be the one. I think Ed would be the one to like execute the plan, but it would be Ivan's idea, like 100%. I don't know why, I just get that vibe from him. He's so cute. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's move on. Just kind of looking at my notes here. So then we go to, okay, so all the guys that went on like the unofficial group date but did not get the one-on-one got to go on an official group date where they did like a truth or a dare. And speaking of Becca Kufrin, she was actually one of the hosts, her and Sydney. Sydney was on Colton's season, and I really liked her on Colton's season. And she was also on Bachelor in Paradise, and she just seems like a really classy girl, like not willing to settle, like doesn't take anyone's bull crap. Like, I really like her. She's cool. So so they like orchestrated the event, and it was actually kind of cool. I really liked it. And there was one part that was kind of weird where they had to like, I don't know, it was weird. I don't even want to say it. Okay. my channel is rated PG, and anything that is past that, like I try to even keep it rated G. Like when I said bullcrap earlier, I felt kind of bad. I know that's stupid, but I did. So that being said, there was a part of the group date that was inappropriate for something that I would like to share on my channel. So I'm not going to talk about that part. However, I'm a hypocrite and it made me laugh. I'll leave it at that. So if you watch the episode, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So they go to, it's like a truth or dare, I think I said that, and they have to pair up into, the girls put them in pairs, and they had to like chug these gross smoothies with like bugs and like guts and like fruit mixed in with it to make it a pretty color. I personally don't think that they had actual like bugs, or like there was like cow intestines in one of them or something really gross like that, and I don't think that they actually had that in there. I think that they just wrote that on the label and maybe put like a gross ingredient in to make it taste like actual crap, you know? So I don't think that that was like legit. So, it was just, I don't know, this episode, I just can't get over it. It was so good. So then they cut to the next part where they have to like do a proposal for Tayshia, and they have like this giant ring. So not only do they have to like do a proposal in front of everyone, but they also have to eat a habanero, which was so funny. Like all that, like Kenny. Okay, so Kenny's another one that I could like take him or leave him. Didn't really care about him all that much. But on this episode, he just like really made me laugh a lot. So he skyrocketed also. So Kenny, Ivan, and Riley were all like 3 dudes on this episode that I was like, I need to see more of them. Bring them to Bachelor in Paradise. And then obviously we all know that Joe is a gem. I don't think he was on this group date though. So Kenny goes up first to do the proposal, and he eats the habanero and then starts like gagging like so bad. I felt really bad for him, and he's like trying to do this proposal to Tayshia and be like super genuine and romantic, and like, you know, it's a mock proposal is what I should say. It's not real. But I don't know, they all did really well. They all did a really, like, I would have been really proud of them. It was kind of a weird group date, but like I kind of liked it. I don't know, I thought it was funny. But Bennett's proposal was like, okay. So I have a couple of favorites. I will talk about that in a minute. Hopefully I don't forget. But Bennett is definitely one of my favorites, which is weird because my brother's name is Bennett. So I think I said this in the last review, that I don't know how that would go, dating somebody with the same name as my brother. But, you know, it is what it is. So, let's see. So then after the dare portion of the day, I'm sorry, my hair keeps getting in my face. I don't mean to keep touching it. My uncle makes fun of people who do that in their videos. So every time I touch my hair, I just hear my uncle like roasting me in my back of my head. So anyway, so then they go to like the night portion of the date, and they do like the truth portion, and like of the truth or dare, whatever. And like she asks them all like really kind of deeper questions to kind of get to the bottom of, is this guy for me or not? Obviously, like that's what the whole show is supposed to be about. And I like some of the questions she asked. And honestly, like next time I get serious with a guy, I pray to God he is the one I marry, because I cannot keep doing this. But honestly, next time I get serious with a guy, these are questions that I want to ask him. Or maybe like even before it starts to get really serious, so that I don't get serious with the wrong guy again. So the one question she asked Zach was, what scares you the most about marriage? I don't remember what his answer was. I think maybe he said divorce or like marrying the wrong person. It was like literally the most typical guy answer. Like, guys are just so funny. They're so predictable. So I don't know. I like Zach. He's cute. He's funny. Really handsome guy. Seems successful. I'd like to hear more of his story, because I know that he has like some sort of drug rehabilitation program or something like that. I'd really like to know more about that, because that's something that kind of I I wouldn't say I'm passionate about that in particular, but in that general field of just like helping people overcome things in their life, that's something that kind of is close to me, close to my heart. So I'd like, hopefully they'll share more of his story. So then, then they cut to Ben. And if you guys remember last week, I talked about how he did not grab Tayshia in time. And she ended the night before he was able to talk to her, and she was super disappointed about it. And I kind of liked, like, that inspired me because she, like, okay, so if it was me in that situation, I probably would have said, yeah, sure, let's go talk real quick. And maybe in that, like, really quick, hey, let's chat, I would have been like, you know, I wish you would have grabbed me sooner. But she just flat out said no. And I was like, okay. Like, I took a note from that, and I'm not gonna just be a pushover to these guys anymore. So yeah, that was kind of honestly like inspiring. And so oh my gosh, so Ben is like, I've got to fix this situation. I've got to, like, this is this week's episode now. I've got to fix this situation. I've got to talk to Tayshia. I can't let her think that I don't care, because I think Ben's like pretty much in love with Tayshia, honestly. Because he was like torn up about it. He was sick to his stomach. Like, you could see it in his face that he was physically ill from upsetting Tayshia. So he goes to her room, and it's like, apparently it's like 2:30 in the morning. I don't know if it was 2:30 in the morning. I think that might have been a little bit of a fake out. And I don't think it was, okay. So the reason I say that is because then after Ben's like, I'm going to Tayshia's room, I'm going to talk to her, they show him walking. Then they cut to Ed. Okay, I don't think, okay, so everyone's saying that, let me explain first. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll explain what happened in case you didn't see it. So basically what happened was Ed decided he also was going to go to Tayshia's room. Well, he's walking all around the resort, and then he finally gets to what he thinks is Tayshia's room, which I don't even know how he, see, this is why I think it's fake, because Tayshia's room says El Presidente on it, and like, it's very evident that that's where her room is, and there's no way the guys don't know that. And like, I'm sure they walk around the resort and just like, you know, mess around and stuff when they're not filming. So like, I'm like, how do they not know that? Like, there's no way. So Ed knocks on what he thinks is Tayshia's door, and the door opens, and it's Chris Harrison's room. LOL, oh my gosh, what a coincidence. Yeah, right. Okay, so then everyone's like, oh, the producers did him dirty, telling him that that's where Tayshia's room was. And I'm like, I don't think that's how it went. I have a conspiracy theory that I have recently come up with this season, and that is that, okay, because these guys are obviously very mischievous and ornery and funny. All of them, like, they're all hilarious. They all have a great sense of humor. And I think that maybe, like, Ed was acting. Like, I think they put him up to it, like, hey, we want to make, you know, people cringe and laugh. Will you be the butt of the joke? And I think he's like, yeah, of course I'll be the butt of the joke. Like, I think he's totally down for that kind of, like, he's very smart, okay? Because I think maybe he kind of knows that him and Tayshia aren't going to work out. So I think he's kind of trying to open up doors for himself. This is my thought process on this situation. He's trying to open up doors for himself. He's trying to get himself more camera time so that he can either be like the next Bachelor or at the very least on Bachelor in Paradise. And I think that's really smart. I definitely think he's going to be on Bachelor in Paradise. He's funny. He's good looking. He's very articulate. He can cause a little bit of drama, but not too much. And he's also, like, you can tell he's a genuine soul. So, I actually thought it was really funny. So then Chris invites him in. They have wine together. It's great. At the very end of the episode, and I'm just going to skip ahead to the very end because I don't want to talk about this anymore. They skip to the very end of the episode, or if we do that, he was sitting there with Chris, and he's like, man, why don't you knock anymore when you're about to enter the house? And he's like, what are you talking about? Chris was like, what are you talking about? And then Ed was like, well, everyone at the house is saying how you used to knock, and then you just stopped doing that, and then you just walk right in. Like, how would you feel if I just walked right into your house this evening? And he's like, Chris was like, yeah, you're right. Maybe I should knock. I'll take a note. And next time I knock, I'll let him know that I took a note from Ed. So I just thought that was funny. But yeah, everybody thinks that the producers put, like, that they set Ed up. I think they put him up to it. I don't think they set him up to do it, if that makes sense. So, but then Ben gets to Tayshia's room and they talk, and she's like, you know, this is why I was upset. She explains herself, and she's like, I want you to, like, make an effort. Like, she basically said, I want you to chase me, and, like, I've put myself out there, and I'm here, and I'm giving everything to you, and now I need you to chase me in return. And I think that he did not do that when she wanted him to, and so she took it as, like, he's not into me the way I want him to be, or the way that I'm into him, therefore I'm gonna back off. So I think that was, then they resolved the issue, and Ben was like, I'm here, I'm making this happen, I know I'm late, but I'd rather, like, try really hard and, like, take this risk than to lose you because I didn't try. Like, I'd rather lose you this way than to not try and still lose you. So then there was another knock at the door, and we think it's going to be Ed, but it ends up just being Champagne. That's why I'm just like, no, the producers did not set Ed up like that. He totally wanted to do it. And he never makes it to Tayshia's room, so I don't know. It's just funny. So then we get to the rose ceremony the next day, and Noah says that a lot of the guys, okay, so last week, if you remember, let's do a tiny recap. They did the wrestling match, and Noah jumped the fence to fight Chasen, and then Tayshia invited him to come to the evening portion of the date so that, because he, like, jumped the fence and took initiative and blah, blah, blah. So the guys were obviously ticked off about that, and he was like, you know, I knew that I was going to shake things up, but I didn't know that they were going to also imply that you didn't, like, that you were just giving me the rose to basically punish the rest of the guys for not trying harder. So he literally tells Tayshia that, and Tayshia was fuming. I thought she was going to combust, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, okay, here's the thing. I understand that she was taking him at his word. I don't really think that that is necessarily true, and the ones that did say it probably weren't the ones that she was into anyway. Like, okay, these are the people that I think maybe did that. I think it could have been Chasen, Ed, Bennett, oh my gosh, Ed, Chasen, Bennett, what's the one guy's name? I can't think of his name, but anyway, there's like Kenny, that's who it was, that they were, like, jealous, like, oh, she probably only did that just to make us jealous, she probably only did that because she wants us to work harder. And so then he tells Tayshia that, she's pissed, whatever. Then she's like, this is the part that made me laugh the hardest. So she's like, can I get everybody in this room? So they're all like, oh God. So they all get up and go into the other room where the other guys are at, and she walks into the room, they're behind her, and they get up, they're like, oh, hey, what's up? And she goes, no, just no. And then she's like, lays it all out there, tells them why she's mad, tells them how mad she is, and then she's like, I'll see you guys at the rose ceremony, and exits. So everyone was so confused, and then they're like, who said something to her? Like, obviously this happened between, like, the last, you know, however long, half hour or whatever, and then they play, like, this evil, suspenseful music, and they're like, who talked to her last? And Noah was like, me. It was so epic. It was so funny. I'm like, these guys are so smart. They know what they're doing. Like, they're causing just enough drama, but not too much. Like, they're playing, like, they're letting the producers, like, they are as much a part of it as the producers are. Like, the producers are not forcing these men to do this. They want to do it. That's, like, my point about it. Like, I think it's maybe their idea. Like, they might orchestrate it a little bit or be like, hey, you should do this. But then I think these guys this season in particular take it and run with it. So they're all ticked off, and they're like, you should have come to us before you said something to her. Like, why would you ruin the night like this? Like, this is ridiculous. You're so immature, blah, blah, blah. And then Bennett and Noah really get into it, and Bennett's like, do you know what? Do you know what this is like? This is like trying to have a conversation with a 14-year-old boy, and that's all I have to say. And then, oh, he was fuming because Bennett, like, is catching feelings for Tayshia, which, if you're catching feelings for someone, like, why would you want to fight with someone else? Like, you know, especially Tayshia, like, that's gonna upset her. Like, she's not about drama, truly. Like, I think we've had some bachelorettes, Hannah Brown, that are totally into the drama, but she's not. Like, Tayshia's so not. Like, she's not about it. And so I don't understand, like, why these guys, like, continue to cause drama. So, like, Bennett obviously, like, I'm like, if you're catching feelings, like, why would you do that, you know? So then, at the end of the ceremony, Tayshia sends home Jordan, Chasen, Kenny, and Joe. So the two people I was most surprised about, well, I wasn't really surprised she sent Joe home. I was the saddest about that. I think everyone was. And Tayshia sends home Chasen. That one surprised me. So, I don't know, but I guess Noah's the villain now. I thought for sure it was going to be Chasen, but I don't know. Noah kind of one-upped him. That's what happens. Snooze, you lose. So, guys, that's it for today. I would say I still love Brendan the most. Brendan and Ivan are my two favorites, and Zach. Zach's my third favorite. So, we'll see how the rest of this season plays out. I'm really excited for this coming Tuesday. I'm going to link Bachelor Fantic's channel below. I always do because he has some really good input on the most recent episodes, and he also does preview breakdowns of the next episodes, and he also starts breaking down The Bachelor. So, maybe I'll talk a little bit about the Bachelor previews that they've put out next week. But other than that, I have to go. I will see you guys either tomorrow or Tuesday for Vlogmas. I'm not sure if I'm going to upload tomorrow. Tomorrow's my normal upload day, so maybe just kind of look out for a little post. I'll share if I'm going to upload or not tomorrow. Still on the fence about it. And then also I'll definitely be uploading Tuesday because it's gonna be Vlogmas Day 1. I'm so excited. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys soon.